Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Claire Braaten, and I'm here today to discuss with you Chapter 3 of our book on Crimes of the Powerful. So this particular chapter focuses on theoretical underpinnings of crimes of the powerful. This is basically a review of some of the theories that you talked about in your criminological theory, whether it's in your undergrad or here in your graduate studies in your other course. So we first begin this discussion by looking at the purpose of theory. So what exactly is a theory? We all know that theory is a set of logically related concepts that can explain a phenomenon. So it aspires to explain why a certain event occurred. One alternative view of a theory is that it actually can be empirically tested and falsified, and it can be predictive. So this is an alternate view, and it is the type of theory that is most commonly used in the natural sciences because of the ability to predict scientific phenomenon. So what is the book's definition of theory? According to the authors of the theory, they subscribe to the view that theory should explain a phenomenon. They focus more on the explanatory power rather than the predictive power of a theory. So there are certain types of theories applicable to different levels of analysis. For example, at the individual level, and then you go up towards the macro level, structural level, and international level. However, according to the authors of Crimes of the Powerful, they believe in a dialectic approach, and they believe that the interaction between the different units of analysis is not linear, as opposed to some scholars. They believe that the interaction between the different levels of theory is dialectic, meaning, it's diverse, it's more circular, it's more dynamic, instead of linear. So you can see from this figure that each of the units of analysis, micro level, meso level, structural, and international level, all interact with each other. They also believe in theory integration, and they believe that a robust theory explaining crimes of the powerful would integrate theories from criminological theory and other disciplines such as sociological theory, politics, and economics. So what is theory integration? Theory integration combines two or more existing theories, concepts, and or propositions that are closely related or are considered competing theoretical models into one comprehensive model. The approach in Chapter 3 is an interdisciplinary multi-level approach. So looking at criminological theories, the authors believe that anomie, strain theory, techniques of neutralization by Sykes and Matza, learning theories, differential association theories, control balance, and natural choice theories are appropriate theories to incorporate into their integrated theories. When considering other theories, other disciplines' theories, they look at sociology, history, international relations, and economics to include theories of power, organizations, political theory, globalization, systems analysis, carceral logics, carcerality, politics, body politics, geopolitics, feminist critical race, and queer theory. So this slide basically depicts the proposed theoretical framework of the authors. And here you can see again that it draws on different theories from different disciplines at the micro level, meso level, structural level, and international level. So they believe in systems analysis. Basically, they look at system criminality, wherein they try to explain crimes of the powerful through looking at different units of analysis. They look at individual actors, they look at organizations, states, nations, and see how all of these interact to reinforce and to explain why crimes of the powerful occur. According to the authors, systems analysis provides a tool through which one can analyze a complex web of connections between and among various entities and mechanisms of power that are complicit in crimes of the powerful. For example, you look at crimes of transnational corporations, international organizations, states, international financial institutions, organized crime syndicates, and other powerful actors. So before they proceeded to explain the different types of theories that they incorporated into their integrated theory, they wanted to define power. So what exactly is power? Power is social, economic, and political capital that allows individuals to ensure and reify existing relations of power and the status quo of the structural relationships of societies. They believe that when analyzing crimes of the powerful, you can't discount the role that power plays in creating conditions that support, facilitate, and allow these harms and crimes to occur. Power is exercised through legitimacy, relations, resources, and discourse, reaffirming and reproducing itself. So, as the title says, as the title explains, crimes of the powerful are crimes committed by those in power. When we talk about enemy theory, you have to review what you learned in prior classes if you did take criminological theory. So enemy is a sense of is a sense of loss of a sense of belonging. So Emily Durkheim was the first to define enemy, and the Emily explained that anomy argues that it reflects a normlessness associated with rapidly changing societies. So in a Mertonian sense, anomy is a result of a high emphasis on goals with low emphasis placed on institutionalized norms to achieve those goals. Basically, there's a discrepancy between goals and the means to achieve those goals. For example, in society, in American society, there is a high emphasis on achieving material and economic wealth, achieving economic success. However, there is low emphasis on the means to achieve those goals. Not everybody has the same opportunity to achieve those goals. Not everybody can, get a good education in one of those Ivy League schools, or not everybody can get a high-paying job. So the means to achieve those goals are not equalized, and because of the discrepancy between the goals and the means to achieve those goals, there's a sense of normlessness. According to strain theory, which was basically formulated by Merton, he explained that there is again a disjunction between goals and expectations due to blocked goals or means. So according to Merton, the inability to achieve those goals causes strain in an individual, and an individual responds to the different responds to this strain in different ways. For example, conformity, innovation, ritualism, or retreatism. So these are the four ways that an individual may respond to strain. For conformity, an individual would accept the organization or state goals and the directed means of achieving them. So even if there's a discrepancy between the goals and the means to achieve those goals, a person who conforms would still go through these means to achieve those goals. For innovation, an individual would accept the organization or state goals, but innovate, find different unacceptable ways of achieving them. A criminal is actually an innovator because an innovator does not accept society's legitimate means to achieve those goals. Ritualism means that the individual did not accept the organization or state goals, but follows the directed means of achieving them. For example, an individual who believes that it's not, he or she would never become rich or would never attain economic success, but still gets a job, goes through the ritual of working every day, or goes to school to get an education, but doesn't really believe that he or she would ever be successful. This is a form of ritualism. And finally, retreatism means that an individual does not accept or act to achieve the legitimate goals and creates an alternative set of goals and means to achieve them. Now, when we talk about organizational theories look at organizational culture, for example, subunits or role specialization, and they look at how these culture, um, contribute to crimes of the powerful. Learning theories are also one way of explaining crimes of the powerful. Edwin Sutherland, who is the most well-known criminologist associated with learning theories, he is a founder of the criminology of white-collar crime. He noted that any person can be trained to adopt and follow a pattern of criminal behavior. And through the process of socialization, individuals learn how to define their environment, favorable or unfavorable attitudes, and specific behaviors. Sutherland's differential association theory contains 9 postulates that serve as a framework for the process of learning criminal and non-criminal behaviors, including the following, which are related to the crimes of the powerful. First, criminal behavior is learned. Second, it is learned in interaction with others during communication. This learning includes techniques, motives, drives, attitudes, and rationalization. Criminal associations vary in time, frequency, priority, intensity, and duration. The learning process of criminality is not any different than any other learning process, and criminal behavior is an expression of general needs and values. But it is not explained by those needs and values, since non-criminal behavior is an expression of the same needs and values. Sykes and Matz's techniques of neutralization introduced a model for techniques wherein the individual would try to explain or rationalize crime. Neutralization techniques include denial of responsibility, denial of injury, denial of victim, condemning the condemner, and appeal to higher authority. The rational choice model is typically associated with the classical school of criminological thought. So the underlying assumption of human nature by the classical school and shared by rational choice theories is that humans are calculative, rational beings with abilities to reason. Hence, they make rational choices based on cost-benefit analysis, and this is the doctrine of rationality. It is based on the hedonistic assumptions of human nature, wherein individuals are pleasure-seeking animals that need their appetite to be constrained by regulations. While the classical school viewed humans as free-willed, later developments recognized limitation to this view. Alterations to the belief in completely free-willed beings include the concept of bounded free will or bounded rationality, which still explains that individuals have free will, but that freedom is constrained due to the bounded nature of their rationality and due to their cognitive abilities. So what exactly is bounded rationality? Cornish and Clark developed one version of rational choice theory that assumes that offenders still act after a rational decision-making process. The decision-making process includes the initial choice to become involved and the decision whether to commit a criminal act. They introduce bounded rationality, which views the decision maker as influenced by incomplete or inaccurate information. And this is actually how most decision makers act in today's society. Not everybody would have complete information. It's impossible to gather complete information when trying to make a decision on the spur of the moment, for example. When faced with a decision making opportunity, usually you act with whatever information you have on hand. And this information may not be completely accurate or may not be complete. Another theory would be the routine activities theory. And Cohen and Felson further developed the rational choice theory to include opportunity. The elements of routine activities theory include a motivated offender, suitable targets, and capable guardians. Again, this is a review of theories in your criminological theory class. So all of these theories can explain crimes of the powerful, and I hope that this chapter was a refresher course for what you learned in the chapter and in your criminological theory class. Thank you. I'll please complete your assignments for this chapter, and I'll see you later.